Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see your faces up there in the square. Well, today we are doing a craft about an owl. We call it Scrappy Little Owls. And when you do crafts and you make things, you're an artist. An artist, one of the things they do is notice things. And so I've got my owl here, and he's sort of, just a puppet. But when you look at the owl, you see shapes. The shape of a wing, the shape of a head, the round shape of his eyes, the shape of his beak. There's his feet, his talons, oh, and his tail. So that's what we're going to look at as we do our craft together. And I am going to tell you what we need to gather up. Hopefully you have everything. And today we're going to be using scissors. We're going to be using a dark piece of paper, but actually any large sheet of paper you can use. And I use a dark sheet because, owls are nocturnal. They come out at night, right? Hi, guys. So we're going to use a dark sheet of paper, or if you don't have a black sheet of paper, there's lots of things you can use. Anything that's lighter, a big piece of construction paper, maybe it's blue, maybe it's even yellow, any color that you like. Or if you want to, whoops, I'm dumping my supplies on the floor here. If you want to, you can even cut apart a grocery bag, because that's a nice strong sheet of paper, and it always works as a good base for something. So whatever you have today, you can use that. You're going to need a glue stick. Oops. A glue stick, and then some scraps of lots of different colors of paper. And I have some scraps. I always use scraps. I have some scraps of wrapping paper and other scraps of construction paper that I use. So, okay, let's, and I'm going to draw a pattern, and you may not have this with you, but maybe in your kitchen you do. I'm going to draw a pattern using my bowl and my cup on my black piece of paper to kind of give me a guideline as where to glue all of the owl feathers. And speaking of feathers, before we get started, I want to show you what I found out in the woods. It's really cool. It's actually a turkey feather. It's not an owl feather. But take a look at the pattern. Dark white, dark white, dark white, dark white. So when we do our owl collage, make a little scrappy owl out of our scrap paper, one of the things I'd like to try to do is put a pattern onto the way we glue our little pieces of paper on. So we're going to maybe do some patterning. And, when you're talking about animals, they have different patterns all over their whole body as to the way they look. Now, this actually is a turkey wing. Don't ask me how I got a turkey wing, but take a look at the different patterns on just a turkey wing. Isn't that cool? What do you think, guys? There's this part where there's that dark light, dark light, dark light. And the feather I found was probably from the top of the wing, because look, there's some ones that match my turkey feather. And then there's some really shiny ones up near the shoulder of the bird. But anyway, yeah. So we're going to look at patterns today too. Okay, so time to get started, right? So I'm going to switch my camera down to the surface so you can see what I'm working on. Here we go. So are you guys ready? All right, okay, so there is my black piece of paper. That's what I'm going to start with. But you can, like I said, you can start with any color you want. I just happen to do dark because it reminds me of the night. So now, the shape of an owl. I sort of want a shape guideline of an owl to help me where I put my papers. Whoops, my table is kind of messed up. Oh, there we go, that's better. So I'm going to use my cup to draw the head. Oh, speaking of heads, I got a duck head right here. And there he is, see the duck head? Yeah, that's kind of, if you take a look at the shapes of a bird's head, there's kind of a circle there. This one has kind of a poke out the back and then a long beak. And if you look at them from the front, Whoops, I can't get that. There we go. You know, it's a different shape, the shapes that you see when you look at something. So what shape of a head do we see when we look at an owl? I kind of see an oval. So I'm going to take my circle here and kind of turn it into an oval. Now I am going to use a white crayon against the dark, and I'm just going to make a head using my cup as tracing. Or if you don't want to use something to trace, you can just kind of guess. And so if my owl's head was a little bit more oval, I might start with one pattern like my cup, but then make some more that makes it more look like an oval. And so then I need a body, right? So instead of putting it right on top of the owl, I'm going to kind of snug it up there so it looks like the owl head is actually sitting on the body. So I'm going to make a little pattern. Now, if you don't have anything to trace, it's okay. You can just kind of guess and make a nice big circle. I'm just not guessing today. There we go. So it almost looks like a little snowman. So if I were to do that, there we go. It almost looks like a little snowman. But there's my basic owl shape. So you can just freehand it. You don't need a pattern. Draw an oval and then draw another part of the body. But that's what I'm going to start. Those are my guidelines. All right, so now, what are we going to make this collage with? A bunch of paper, right? Okay, so when I look at my owl, I see lots of brown and gray, and I have a piece of brown construction paper, and I have a piece of white construction paper, and I have a paper bag that I thought was kind of a nice color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some strips. So that's your first job, guys. Let's cut some strips, okay, that are about like this. And then we're going to get them together and we're going to glue them in a pattern. Okay, so I got my construction paper and I'm going to cut some strips. Where am I? There we go. Kind of thin strips. I'm going to cut a bunch. 1, 2, and we might have to cut more as we go along. How are you guys doing? I got 3 strips of brown, but you can decide, you know, you might want to do a pink and white owl, or a blue and white owl, or an orange and white owl, or a yellow and white owl, or any kind, or a purple and red owl. But I just happen to have some brown, and I had a bag. Where's my bag? Oh, I set it down. Okay, so now I am going to do some strips from my paper bag. Some long strips from my paper bag. Uh-oh. And my strips don't always have to be straight. I'm not always good at cutting straight strips. But, you know, when you look at owl feathers, I got one right here. It's not really straight, right? It's fuzzy and there's lots of curves. So if your strips aren't exactly straight, it's okay. Okay, so now I got 3 or 4 strips of my paper bag. So then I think I want some white, because when I look at owl feathers, this one actually is an owl feather, I see a lot of white. So I'm going to try to create a pattern. Here we go. So now I'm going to get some white stripes. 1. Are you guys cutting strips? Good. I'm choosing to use the browns and the whites, but like I said, you can do purples and reds and blues and yellows and oranges too, because that makes it cool. You're the artist. You can decide what color you want your owl to be. Now, owls are kind of cool to think about this time of year because Halloween is coming. And we usually think about things that are awake and alive at night. Okay, so I got all these strips, right? And I got my owl outline. So now these are nice long strips. So I'm going to take my my paper bag strip and my brown strip and my white strip. And I'm going to cut little chunks. See how I'm doing that? I'm going to chunk a few of them up. There we go. That's about 1.5 inches long, but you can do any size. So these are going to be my owl feathers. And whoops, I ran out. Okay, so let's see if I can do a pattern. Okay, so now here's my glue stick. And I'm going to do a pattern, and I'm going to start at the bottom of my owl outline. Get my glue stick going, and I'm going to start and put a little bit of glue. Are you guys ready to do this? You got your outline? Do you got your feathers? Do you have a pattern in mind? So my pattern today, I decided, was going to be brown. I'm sticking that down. White. And I'm kind of overlapping my strips and my paper bag. And then I'm going to add a little bit more glue so they'll stick to each other. Oops, I just put the cap on. My paper bag strip was a little fat. So let's see. Brown, white, paper bag. Oh, if I'm doing a pattern, I want another piece of brown. Okay. Ah. There. Okay. And I'm going to continue that pattern. Excuse me. So I can't talk. White. My paper bag. There's my other pattern. And then brown again. There, I'm getting there, I'm getting there. So after brown, white, whoops, white, paper bag. Okay, so there's my first layer. So now I'm about to start my second layer, and I need to cut some more chunks, right? So there's white, paper bag, and brown, and I'm going to cut those up in about little chunks like that. And I'm going to use them for my second row. Okay, more chunks. There we go. So I've got some more chunks to work with. And I'm going to do some more glue across. Oops, I'm putting some glue kind of on top of the ones that I first glued and onto my base. See how I did that? There's the ones I glued first, then I kind of put some more glue right over the top of them and up on my owl's body, and I'm going to do another layer. Okay, and I'm going to change up the pattern a little bit. I'm going to start with a different color right over the top, but I'm putting it over the top of my first layer. Okay, and I'm going to angle it a little bit because I want this to appear a little bit round. See how I put that at a different angle rather than straight? Okay, so now I'm going to do my pattern. I started with a different color, and I'm angling it so it looks like a lot of fringe. Uh-oh, some of my chunks got in the way. Okay, so I need another chunk, and I angled it. Need some brown. I'm overlapping them and angling them. There we go. Whoops. How's it going, everybody? Like I said, you're the artist here. You can decide what colors you want to use. And now I'm starting to angle them back the other way. See, I angled them this way, then I straight, and now I'm going to angle them kind of that way to make my guy look a little round. Okay. See how the angle is changing? I'm following kind of my circle. Whoa, I need some more chunks of brown construction paper, actually. There we go. And you can always keep cutting chunks as you need them. That's a good thing. And I'm following my pattern right across the bottom and angling them. Oh, okay, what color do I need now? Oh yeah, just one. There, second roll. So I'm going to work a little faster, I think, now. Whoops, there we go. Cover them up. And I'm going to do the same thing for the third row. I'm going to put some glue over the top of my second row and into the base of my outline of my owl. Okay. All right, I better cut some more chunks though. How are you guys doing on chunks? Do you need to keep cutting more because you're using them up? Now, another thing you could do is if you don't want to keep cutting chunks, you can always rip pieces too. All right, so I think I have some more strips cut, so I'm going to start a different pattern. So I'm going to start and go this way this time just because it's looking a little bare. All right, so here we go. Another row, and I'm angling it so it's gonna look like feathers over the tops of feathers. Whoa, where's my paper bag strip? Yeah, and you can always rip stuff if you don't have your scissors right at hand. Like me. I drop things on the floor when I'm working. There we go. Okay, some more outlines. More feathers in my outline. Oops, I need another paper bag strip. Okay, so I'm almost done with my third row. And there we go, and the feathers are sticking out the side. There we go, third row. Third row, third row, third row. Whoops. Now I'm gonna do the fourth row, kind of the same until, probably gonna do 2 more rows until I get to the chin. Well, I call it the chin, but it's the neck of my owl. Whoops, that's still in the other row. Okay, so I'm going to start this way this time and angle my feathers across. Whoopsie. More chunks. I'm overlapping them and sticking them on. Okay, and I'm starting to angle my feathers. Boy, this is taking a while, isn't it? Lots of fun work. But then you're going to have a really cool picture for Halloween, I think, because Halloween is a really good time for, hey, anybody like other Halloween animals that you think about this time? How about a bat? That's a good one. Or maybe a black cat. Okay, now I'm starting to go the other angle direction here. There we go. Some of those other animals that come out at night are fun to think about at Halloween. Whoops, I'm ripping now. Because I lost my scissors. Okay. Oh, you know what? I got a hole in mine. Right there, I see something coming through, so I'm going to put another, whoops, little glue, and cover up my hole. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do one more row. Whoops, you can't see it. I'm going to do one more row across the top of feathers. So here's my glue all across and on, because I'm overlapping. Overlapping. Okay. Oh man, I need some more chunks. Need some more chunks, so I'm cutting chunks. More chunks. Can't run out of chunks. Need some more brown. So I'm cutting chunks, just strips of paper is all. You can even use newspaper with this too. If you have lots of newspaper, that would make a good texture. Or if you had, I just have a little bit of this stuff, but if you had some crazy wrapping paper that you wanted to use, you could always use that too. A little strip of that. Well, I'm not going to put that in my pattern right now. Okay, so I got some more chunks here, and I'm going to start this time over on the edge with white and keeping up my pattern, brown and butch bag, and some more white, and I'm kind of doing it right up to the chin. Oops, what's my pattern? I messed up my pattern. And then I'm angling it over to the base of the owl. Oops, I got a gap there. What did I do? It's okay. I'm gonna put another big one right over the top. Okay. All right, so are you ready to work on the head? All right, so with an owl, I had my stuffed owl here, and now we're going to do the head. And everything kind of, whoa, I can't get him into the focus. There he is. Everything kind of goes from the nose outwards, like a big spray. So what I mean by that is everything, we're going to do kind of spokes. I'm going to do strips in a pattern all around my owl head that are about this long, a little longer than the chunks I was cutting. And I'm going to do spokes out from the center to the outside of my. So there's the nose right in the middle. I'm going to put a little bit of a circle in the middle. I'm going to cover it up eventually, but that's kind of the center of my head, and that's what I'm going to do with my spokes all around. Actually, I could do that. Yeah. All right. And so I'm going to put some glue all around my head like that. I'm going to try to do it this way. Okay, so there's one. Everything's coming from the center. And I'm going to continue my pattern, but my strips are longer this time. And, oh man, I need to cut some more. More strips, more strips, more strips. There, I'm getting there, right? And one over here. Sticking out. Ooh, that was too long, I think. Okay. And I need some more white too. I don't have any long white ones, so I'm going to cut some more of those. Okay. Strip. Strip. Uh-oh, that one glued itself over there. All right. That was a little too long. There we go. And I'm filling it in as fast as I can, but you guys can take your time because you can always finish it after this video is over. After this Zoom meeting is over. So I got, oh, I need some more brown. I do. Oh, that one needs a white, right? Well, this is going to be kind of a crazy looking owl. I love it. More glue. And more paper. More white. And I've got some smaller pieces that I'm going to kind of fill in my gaps with because they're sitting right here. And I need to use them. Okay. And if something doesn't stick, just put a little dab of glue down where you want it, stick it in there. Okay, so now you've got kind of this silly round shape, right? So now we're going to start to add some detail to our silly round shape head owl. And oops, more glue. I see a lot of holes that I want to fix. How's your head turning out, guys? Mine's okay. All right, so my puppet owl has big yellow eyes with dark centers. See that? He's looking right at you. Ha! So that's the first thing that I'm going to put on the owl. I have some scraps of yellow paper, and I'm going to cut a big circle out of my yellow paper and put two eyes on there. So this is just an odd scrap, but I'm going to fold it in half so my eyes are the same and cut two at the same time. That's always, if you're trying to make something the same, it's always best to cut two at the same time because then they really will be the same. So I'm cutting two big sort of circle eyes. Now, I don't know if I can cut an exact circle just by guessing, but if you want, you can always find a small circle and trace it and then cut it. But I did pretty good, don't you think? Ta-da! All right, so now I'm going to glue the eyes on. Okay. Put some little glue on there, and my center dot is probably going to get covered up, which is good because I don't want to see that anymore. There we go. There's my two owl eyes. Woo! Now, I need something for the centers to be dark. So if you have a marker that you can use that, or you can use a black crayon, or if you have some more black paper, you could cut little circles and put them in the middle of the eyes so that he looks like he's looking at you. And I happen to have a marker nearby, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a circle in the middle of each eye so that my owl looks like he's looking at you. The pupils, there we go. Woo, cool. And another one, hopefully the same. But you can do this with crayon. You can do this with cutting a circle out of dark paper. Maybe you want your owl eyes to be a different color. Maybe you want them orange. You could do that too. I could. I have a piece of paper here, piece of orange paper. There we go. And I could cut, whoops, I cut two of them. That would be good. Instead of black centers, if I wanted to get real fancy and maybe a little bit more whimsical, maybe I could cut two small circles out of paper and glue them there. Wow! I don't know which I like better. Maybe I'll go with that for now. But you could do purple. You could use, what color eyes does your super owl have? Okay, what's he missing right now as far as detail, I think, is his beak. Now, when I look at my puppet owl, it's kind of hooked. It's hooked. See that? That hook. But if you look at him from straight on, it's kind of almost a triangle shape with the pointy end down. So I'm going to do a triangle, an orange beak, and I'm going to cut a triangle and see how that looks. Now, if you ever do something and then you don't like it, you can always pull it off. That's the cool thing about being an artist. You can fix it or do something else. So I'm going to try a triangle here out of my, kind of a big triangle, because a big hook beak. Here's my triangle. Oh. And I'm going to put that right between the eyes. Oops, it's moving. There. Okay, so I'm going to glue that down. There's my triangle beak. Whoops. Uh-oh. Just pulled up his feathers. There we go. The big point of the triangle. Well, you know, this triangle is a little uneven, so I'm going to say that that's the big point of the triangle and put it down there. There. Now he's got a beak, big eyes looking at you, nice big head, and a really cool bunch of feathers. Well, he doesn't have any feet. How's he going to perch on a branch if he doesn't have any feet? So we're just adding detail right now. And I think we better put some feet on this owl, right? Okay. I wish I had a real owl to show you, but even the people that put this owl puppet together put talons, nice sharp talons onto my puppet owl. So that's what we're going to do here at the bottom, the base of my owl. So I have some more. Actually, owls have crazy feet. They have sharp talons, but they also have feathers on their legs. And so I don't know exactly. I think I'm going to get my pencil out and try to draw before I cut this time. So I'm going to do a straight Oh, you can't see that very well, can you? I better use my black marker so you can see it better. Okay, so take your pencil or your marker or your crayon and draw a straight line. And then another line for the leg. And then talons, toes. Kind of curve around. They're sharp at the end. And another one. And then another one. So I drew one. It looks like a little tree, right? So I better do another one over here. Actually, I can do what I did with the eyes. I can cut two at the same time. So if I fold my paper in half, there, I got two layers. Now I'm going to cut that owl leg out two at a time. One around my owl leg and over my owl talons. And a sharp point looks like a little tree up and up there and back there. And pointy talons for my owl. Okay, woo, oops. And up to the leg. Okay, just a little scrap of orange paper. Okay, so I turn them over so my black marks don't show because that's kind of messy looking. And I'm sticking them on my owl, kind of under the feathers like that. See how, remember when we did layers? You can lift up those layers a little bit on the parts that didn't get glued and you can stick the legs in there just like that. So it looks like, all right. So, but I'm taking them out now because I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the base so they won't fall out afterwards. I'm sticking them back underneath the feathers and pressing down. And then I'm going to pull this out again, stick a little glue on the leg and stick it down. Whoop. Uh-oh. Okay, we'll go under there. Go, go, go. All right, now this owl has legs. Well, he's just kind of got legs that aren't hanging on to anything. So what do you think an owl might hang on to? Got any ideas, guys? How about it? He could be catching a mouse. So if anybody wants to get really creative and stick a mouse in his talons, you could. Or if he's just sitting around at the tree, he might need a branch to sit on. So what have I got that could be a branch? Oh, I have more paper bag here. So whoops, where I shop now. So now I'm gonna cut a branch out of my paper bag. And what does a branch look like? Maybe I better do my drawing again with my marker and draw a branch for this owl to sit on. So here's my branch. They're not just a straight line. Branchy branch. There. Can you see that? With my branch that I drew on my paper bag. I might have to adjust that, but I'm going to cut that out. And then we're going to put a branch in the owl feet so it can hang on to something and sit around at the tree and say, whoo. So, okay, almost got it cut. I'm gonna throw that around and okay, I got a branch, and I'm gonna turn it over so that my black marks don't show. But maybe I kind of like my black marks. This might go off the paper. I like my black marks, so you could take your crayon or your marker and draw some bark like this. Little texture. What's fun about being an artist is you can decide what you want to do and it really turns out cool. All right, so I'm going to put my foot on the branch and my other foot on the branch, and then the branch is going to hang off my paper. And there we go. And you know what? My little twig part of the branch is sticking up on the owl, and I just decided I don't like that, so I'm going to cut it off. All right, so I'm going to put some glue on the bottom of my foot so it will stick to the branch. And like I said, if you want your owl to be flying around catching mice, which they do at night, You could draw a little mouse and stick it in his talon. And that would look really cool. Okay, so there's my branch. And there's my owl feet sticking to the branch. And a little bit more glue under my branch to stick to the paper. And yes, I think my picture is done now. My owl. Scrappy little owl. There, let's see if we can get him all in the picture of his face. Whoops. His body with all those feathers and his branch to sit on. Anyway, lots of fun things to do here. We're so glad that you came to join us this morning. And I hope you had a good time. And I hope you play around with this and do, you don't have to do owls. You could do bats, you could do cats, you could do a pumpkin. Hey, they're not all plain and orange. You could make a really cool one. But anyway, so happy fall and whoo! Join us again next time. Something I had never ever seen before. And here's where you get to make a choice. Was it a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex? Okay, so now how are we gonna paint the pine cones? Maybe 3 pine cones. What do you think? Yeah, 3 pine cones. And then the fun starts. What's happening here? Well, when we pull back on our little shooter here, that creates potential energy. And then when I let it fly, it turns that potential energy into kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. And boom!